Welcome once again to Art Attack, the big art show. A nice messy one to start with, I think. Let's go loopy with paint. Take a piece of paper, any colour you like, any size you like, and you will also need some of these ready-mix poster paints, the type in the squeezy bottle with the thin nozzle top. And if you can't get hold of those, then you can always mix your own paint into an old washing up liquid bottle, and it has the same effect. And the effect that we're looking for is that you need to be able to pour your paint out into a thin, continuous line like that. And if you mix your paint too thick, it won't come out, so you can mix some more water into the bottle. And then, there we go. Take the paint, I love doing this, and just squeeze out a thin, continuous line onto your paper. But don't let the lines cross, and just keep going in these loops and squiggles. Cover as much of the paper as you can, but don't let the lines cross. And when you get to the end, just simply take the paint off the paper. And then get another colour and start to create smaller loops inside these bigger loops that you've done. And just look for all the big loops and create smaller loops in there. Squeezing the paint out. There it is. And when you've done that, get another colour and squeeze even smaller loops into the smaller loops. That's if you can get in there, because there's a small one in there, and there's a smaller one I can get to in there, and try that one up there maybe. And just for good measure, I'll put a yellow loop in there like that. And there it is. You've got a loopy picture, and when it's dry, you can hang it up. But why stop there? Why not go even more loopy? Take another piece of paper that's smaller than your first piece, but a different colour, and then just look for an interesting part of your picture, somewhere that's very busy, and then lay the paper on top of your picture and just gently press down with your fingertips into the paint. And you don't have to squidge it down too hard. Just press it down nice and gently, and then grab two corners, peel it back, and there you have a loopy print. Try it yourself. Go loopy with paint and create a loopy picture and a loopy print.
Now that is one very nice effect, and I have just one piece of advice. Put down lots of newspaper. Oh, and just one more piece of advice. Don't press down too hard on the top piece of paper. And just one last piece of advice. Make sure you dry it flat. Oh, he did that really well, with the light just delicately picking out the outline of the bike. I've done one of those. Only I forgot to turn the light on.
Here's a good art attack, but you need to watch this very carefully. Take a sheet of drawing paper and fold it in half one way, and then in half again the other way, just matching up the edges and creasing them like that. So you have a sort of greeting card. And then on the inside, draw a line down the middle just to remind you which is the inside of the card, and you'll see why I'm doing that in a minute. Then open the card out and fold it again in half, keeping that inside line still on the inside. There it goes, in half again. So that inside line is somewhere in that fold. And then mark a point halfway along that line, which is roughly there, doesn't have to be spot on, and then draw a line that goes a quarter of a way into the card, like that, and then snip a slot in it with some scissors, like that. And then fold back that flap to there, and the opposite flap to there, and then fold them both back to the middle again, and then turn it over and do the same on the other side. Fold that back to there, that back to there, and creasing it well on every fold, and put the two of them back into the middle again. And then start the whole thing from the beginning. Remake your card with the inside line on the inside, so you then have something that looks like that. You've got your line with those two flaps in the middle. And then the tricky bit. Stick your finger inside the card and just try to poke your finger up through those two flaps, like that, and then just pull them back on themselves. And as you're pulling the flaps back, the card will start to close itself, and then trap the flaps in with your hand, close the card on them, and press really hard, like that, to crease those flaps. And you then have something that looks like that. And then just draw a picture of a face on the inside using that slot as the mouth. So there we go. See if you can guess what it is I'm drawing. Yeah, it's a bit obvious, isn't it? It's the old wide-mouthed frog. Just drawing it very roughly to start with, because you can paint it up neatly. You can rub out that line, and when you've done that, you will have something that looks like that. Look at that. A novelty greeting card. And let's face it, there's lots of different designs you could try. How about designing a Halloween card? Or a birthday card that sings at you. I'm not going to sing, though. Try it yourself. Design your own novelty greeting card.
Oh, that is great, and it's so simple. Just fold a piece of paper in half and make one cut. But you've got to have an idea of what to do first. I've had an idea. In fact, I've had a brilliant idea. But I haven't got a piece of paper.
Hello, my name is Charlotte and I've done a chalk picture of a vase of flowers and a bowl of fruit. I've used my fingers to smudge the chalk to make a nice effect. My name's Anne and I did a picture of a clown using chalks. I used purple and blue for the face and green for the eyes.
Hello, my name's Victoria and I've done a picture of a winter's tale. I've used white chalk and I've smudged it to get a snowy effect.
Good art attacks. Do you know what? I think chalk is really versatile, you know. You can get some great effects from it. Try this. Just smear some chalk onto a piece of paper, onto the side of the paper, and then take some cotton wool and just smear the chalk over the edge of the paper onto a piece of black paper. And you sort of billow it up into this cloud effect. And when you take the paper away, you have that very strong line there. Then you can just take the cotton wool and start to dab the chalk to create like a cloud effect. And then you can create another cloud effect by using the side of a piece of chalk. Just lay the chalk on its side and do very light strokes in a sort of, well, it's a sort of upside down U shape I'm using here. And just to pick out the edges of some of the top clouds there with highlights, just use the sharp end of the chalk. Another effect you can use with chalk is to smear it with your finger. And it just gives it this very different texture, very sort of atmospheric, moody texture. Looks almost like some moonlight. Now, one of my favourite effects that you can get with chalk is drawing into it with a rubber. Watch this. You can make some very light lines with the rubber. Just lightly drawing in my picture. And you can get some very bold lines just by pressing down hard with the rubber in there. And just rubbing really hard with it and rubbing out the chalk from your picture. It's almost a takeaway picture, this, isn't it? You're taking the chalk away. And watch this. Some real fine detail now. Just pressing really hard on the rubber. Taking the chalk away. This is the good bit. You take the sharp edge of the chalk and put in some more highlights. And I'm going to take my finger and I'm just going to smear the chalk across. So you've got that highlight on the edge of the dome where the moon is shining. You've got the shadow right round the back of the dome. In fact, what I'll do is I'll bring in a piece of paper I had before, lay that in there, and watch this. And there it is, a chalk effect picture. Try it yourself and give yourself a chalk dust attack. And I'll see you next time. Ta-ra!